Climbers, AI-generated music will swallow more than 1/4 of artist revenue by 2028 and represents a lower cost option for distribution partners. Let me put this in plain English. It's your lunch that's going to be taken off the table. And today, we're interviewing the co-founder and chief human at Humanable, which is a brand new company set to launch in September, and they're doing something about it. So stick around.
Let's go.
Welcome to the climb! This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. That's what it's all about, leverage. It's what it takes in the new music business to get to where you want to go. The good news is you don't need anybody's permission to get there. The bad news is you got to do it yourself, okay? But they're not going to meddle. They're not going to mucky muck up the art. Just get out there, get the traffic, get it going, and everybody comes out of the woodwork. That's why we call it the climb, guys. C.L.I.M.B, creating leverage in the music business. It's a backronym from my good friend and co-host, Mr. Brent Baxter, who's an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady A, Joe Nichols, and more. He's got number ones in Southern Gospel. He's got top tens in Texas radio and Australian radio. He's nationwide. He's worldwide. And more importantly, what you care about is he wants to help you learn how to turn pro as a songwriter by revealing how you write like a pro, do business like a pro, and then on the regular, it's going to give you opportunities to meet the pros, to create relationships with the pros. You can find Brent very easily at songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. They're breaking artists digitally by identifying new fans through data. It's complicated, but Johnny got the big old brain. If you're an artist looking to increase your streams or blow up your video views, sell more live show tickets, and get discovered by new fans, TV, and music industry pros, then Daredevil Production can help. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That is production, singular, no S. And there is no S. Why? Because there is no other Johnny D.
What's up, brother?
Man, life is good. Hey, did you get that text I sent you the other day about Post Malone?
No. Oh, wait, I did. I don't know if I looked at it yet.
Yes.
Wait, which one? Oh, no, I did. The one about him not putting up any blockades or whatever for.
No, it was. So I was. I have a Google alert set up for the phrase Monday morning church, like back when that was a single. So it alerts me.
Oh yeah. No, I saw that. Yeah. He shouted you out on.
And so I was checking it on, I guess maybe Friday, the day his record dropped, the F1 Trillion, and it said Monday morning church. So I'll get those every once in a while, but most of the time it's a news article which puts Monday morning and then church happened on blah 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 or whatever. And right. But every once in a while it's about the song or Aaron Enderlin playing or something about Alan Jackson. And this said something Post Malone. I was like, huh? I'll click on that. And it's from the, apparently on the extended bed version. So the extended version, which is also on streaming, there's a song called Dead at the Honky Tonk. And the first verse says, knee deep in the bullet, one foot in the dirt. Yeah, his bloodshot eyes are empty as a Monday morning church. And I was like, I think the song just got a shout out.
Yeah.
Holy heck.
So I got confused on that because I've seen a whole bunch of stuff about Post Malone now because there seems to be a kerfuffle in the community, not our community, but in the country music community about him coming into it. And some people are they don't want him. Like, what's he doing? And some people are like, no,
I would like to say officially that is my favorite new song, Dead at the Honky Tonk. So I was like, that's got to be on purpose. And look at the writers: is Louis Bell, Charlie Handsome, Post Malone, Ernest Smith, Josh Byron, Ashley freaking Gorley. So I'm like, yeah, I know Ernest and Ashley. They know their country music history, so I'm sure that is no coincidence. So I took that as sounds better in the bio than it does on the bank statement, but I thought that was pretty darn cool. So anyway, that was my that was fun. Notice that it was on a Saturday morning. It was on. I noticed it on Saturday morning. I thought, well, that was fun to send around.
No, that's awesome.
That. So thank you, Post.
That's awesome. You should DM him and be like, hey, thanks for the shout out and respond to that post.
Pretty sure I did. Him and Ernest and anyone I can get a hold of.
Good. Well, today, we got this is a deep conversation, and I'm not exactly sure after having this interview, because we've already recorded it, like how it's all going to work. But I like the angle. I like what they're about.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a new company, guys, that is on the road, on the warpath to being able to certify what music is being made by humans and what music is not, which is essentially generative AI. So we go deep dive into this, and what's the criteria for that? What does it mean? What does it not mean? Et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's really interesting to listen to this one, because they're about to launch. Okay, so this company hasn't even launched yet.
Yeah, it's like a week out.
Yeah, it's a week out, and I don't know. Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So hit us back in the C.L.I.M.B community and let us know what you think. But before we get into that, real quick, let's take care of a little business here, guys. We want you to join the C.L.I.M.B community on Facebook. Just go to Facebook groups and search for the C.L.I.M.B community. You have to ask to be let in, and we let everybody in. But can I just tell you, speaking of AI, I think. I need, Brent, I need your input on this, and anybody else's input if you want to, respond in the C.L.I.M.B community. Everybody's starting to look like a freaking bot to me. Okay? And my picker's pretty good, I think, for the most part. Like, few get through, but now it seems like the AI is saying that the Facebook account was created, 12 years ago, but they've got 84 friends. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true, And so I don't know what can we do to, provide a secondary thing where people can, I don't know, email us or do something.
Well, I'll tell you what I do on, we have the Songwriting Pro public group. So, I have a private one for just members of Songwriting Pro, and that's where a lot of cool stuff happens. But we also have a public group where, same thing. Anyone's welcome there as long as there is someone. And what I do is I put in questions. And if you don't answer the questions, I boot you. I just don't let you in. I just decline the request. Like, if you don't have enough in you to go, hey, you agree to this, this cool. If you don't have enough in you to say yes or no, then you don't care enough to be in a group.
Don't we have questions like that in the C.L.I.M.B community?
Well, I don't know. You would see them on the request, their answers to those questions.
Maybe we don't. Okay, I'll put some questions in there then, because I'm afraid that there's one straggler in there. I'm almost certain that the vast majority of these requests are not real accounts. Okay. But, I'm worried that somebody out there slipped through the cracks. I didn't let them in, and now I'm a jerk. And
so let's just add some questions, and even as simple as, are you a bot? Or, hey, what's your favorite song right now? There you go.
Oh, even better. I like that, because that's not a yes or no thing. They have to actually write something out, and a bot's not going to be there it is. Our problems are solved, mate. All right. Well, when you come into the C.L.I.M.B community, guys, you can ask whatever questions you want about songwriting, about marketing. You can get co-write hookups. Plenty of those have happened in the C.L.I.M.B community. The international co-write hookups that have turned into money, that have become lucrative. We love that. That's what the feed is for. Ask any questions about marketing. You've got, your peers are going to get there. We're going to answer. They're going to show you what they've done, what they haven't done, what works, what doesn't work, etc. Want to hear about your new music as a comment on New Music Monday, which is a post that happens every Monday. We want to hear about your gigs on Gig Alert every Thursday as a comment on Gig Alert. Don't put your gigs and whatever you want to promote. We want you to promote it just in the right place. Don't put it in the feed. And then we have New Heights on Wednesday, which is really Wednesday Wins, the better alliteration. And that's all about you getting to brag on whatever your wins were and getting a lot of love from us in the community. So we shout those out on the podcast, Brent. What do you got today?
That's right. Climber Billy Alford says, I just produced and recorded 2 songs for Genevieve at the same studio where ZZ Top recorded their first 4 albums. Great players, great studio. Robin Hood Bryan, Tyler, Texas. So congrats, Billy. That's awful cool. Climber Ron Hirsch says, Paul DeMarco is getting a lot of good response on his song, Will You Run With Me, that I co-wrote with him. He's put a link to the live version. The studio version is available on all music streaming and on Paul DeMarco Music. So congrats, Billy. Congrats, Ron. Keep on climbing.
All right, guys. Yeah, congrats, Billy. Congrats, Ron. Way to go. I want to know, how did that studio smell? Could you smell the greatness in that studio? That's where LaGrange is recorded, man. Like that's
cool.
awesome. So, well, let's get right into this, man, with Lili McGrady at Humanable and unpack this. I think this is going to be pretty eye opening for you guys. All right, well, let's get to it then. Today's guest is co-founder and chief human of Humanable, a movement and platform created to solve the disruption caused by generative AI in the music industry. The Nashville-based company will make its industry debut at their special event at the famous Santa's Pub in Nashville during the 2024 Americana Fest. The industry-changing event will be held from 7 p.m. to midnight on September 17th, 2024, and will be accessible to Americana Fest pass holders only. So if you're coming to Americana Fest, you might want to go see this. This is Humanable, just real quick, is a music-adjacent tech startup. Solves the disruption caused by generative AI in the music industry. The patent-pending artist-first platform has built an industry-wide standard benefiting human creators, record companies, studios, publishers, musicians, and platforms by certifying human-created music, so everyone from fans to musicians to publishers can choose to support authentic music. So with that, please welcome Chief Human from Humanable, Lili McGrady. Lili, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for saying yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
I have a billion questions for you.
And I've been having a billion conversations with other songwriters and creatives about AI, and it's been all the topic. Topic lately. So I'm glad you're here that we can dive into it. But
so the first thing I think that our listeners need to clarify, because I need to clarify too, is this a streaming platform?
It's not. It's not a streaming platform. The closest thing that it is to is certified organic on your produce.
Okay.
It's sort of like that, but for music. So
it would work on any it works with any streaming platform.
Well, we hope so in the future. For now, it's a certification mark, and artists can certify through Humanable that their work is created without generative AI, and then we issue them a license to use our Humanable trademark on promotional materials, even record covers if they want. If they're a licensee, they can play around with it, and they can put in their social media bios they're Humanable certified artists, anything they want to do.
What okay, so that clears up a lot for me, because it sounded like it might have been a platform, and so that I had a lot of questions from that. How, just out of curiosity, because this I think this is extremely interesting. I like it. How do you intend to market to make this check mark be ubiquitous, to make everybody in the industry and all the fans understand what it is, what it means, etc.?
Yeah. So the way we hope to do that is through critical mass. We are starting from, grassrooting ourselves here in Nashville to start with, because this is really a movement for writers and instrumentalists, artists, everybody here and in the other music cities and everywhere. But, they're more centered here. There's more of them. And there's a lot of kids coming here to do that. And so we are really, I think we already have, but we're hoping to continue to grassroot ourselves among this community, especially among up and coming songwriters and artists.
So essentially the check mark would indicate to a record label that was maybe looking at an artist, or a fan that was looking at an artist, or other musicians, other industry people looking at any given artist, that this is not AI, right?
Yes. And especially relevant for songwriters, if they're looking to land that pub deal, that, the publishers know that this is human created songs. This was written by a human being. And so we hope that gives them leverage.
You understand the assignment, Lili.
we hope that gives them leverage.
I like what you did there.
Well, that's okay. Can I jump in there since you mentioned songwriter? Yeah. Okay, that's super interesting to me because, as a songwriter myself, I've been having a lot of conversations with people. I do a lot of coaching for songwriters, a lot of aspiring writers, and I know that some people are starting to use AI, and I'm seeing some of the familiar names of the platforms pop up and some things, and see that people are using that. So this is not just a label for, because my first impression was like somebody like Chris Stapleton is going to slap certified human or whatever the your version of the blue check mark is on his record to go, I'm cool, I'm legit, and this is what I do. This is part of my brand. No AI was used in the making of this record. Kind of like, I remember I think he or some people used to put some stuff in the label copy in the liner notes of like, no auto-tune was used in the production of this record or whatever. I've seen that before.
Tesla did that back in the 80s. They said no machines were used. So it was just amps and players. And I like that.
So that's interesting for like a songwriter. So even like, say someone like myself, I'm not interested in doing the artist thing. That is not my skill set. I don't sing well. AI is better than me on the singing part for sure. But if I'm looking to get like a publishing deal, you could go through someone like me could go through Humanable to certify like, oh, he actually wrote these songs.
Well, we don't certify originality because every cover of Hey Jude is its own song, and we would need to certify each one. But we do certify that it was created by a human being. Yes.
Interesting.
We certify that a robot didn't
write it.
So yeah. While we're on this lily pad here, how exactly? Because I imagine if this is the thrust of the business, you guys must have, like in your mission statement or in your company bylines or whatever, some official definition of how Humanable defines AI.
Yes.
Or generative AI.
Yes. So we are specifically worried about generative AI, and we're worried about what I like to call the big three. And that is, it was written by a human being. The vocals, if there are vocals, are performed by a human being, not a computer. And the instrumentalists are human beings. So we're not certifying no auto-tune. We're not worried, we're not certifying no AI editing tools, right? We're worried about the big three parts of the human creativity that comes into producing that initial piece of art.
So how do you guys then look at, according to your definition, how do you discern, let's say, between somebody going to a generative AI and saying, give me a loop from James Brown, from a James Brown record, a drum loop from a James Brown record, it's like the most sampled drum loops on the planet, right? Versus somebody using a sample in their creation. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so it works because we have the big three is important, and we are worried about it truly being created by a human being. We're not worried about, we are worried about it. Everybody should be as creative as possible, but we're primarily concerned with it was created by humans rather than where they take inspiration from.
Okay, so then I'm talking with one of the guys I work with, Luke, and just asking him, like, look at this company, man. What kind of questions you got right now?
Mm-hmm.
And so he was showing me a feature in Logic Pro, which is a digital audio workstation that allows him to, when he's doing recordings, to, let's say, call up a drum beat, and then he can ask what is essentially generative AI within Logic, show me 3 or 4 different feels on this drum performance, and it will rearrange those. So it's not like a trigger, wasn't drummed by a human. So it's sort of like a cross between a drum machine and certainly generative AI. So how does that work? So like you guys are certifying this through like the honor system, essentially, right?
We are certifying it through an affidavit in our terms and conditions. So it is under penalty of perjury. And the first person who lies to us is going to have a very bad day, unfortunately. Somebody will, and it'll be a very bad day for them. And one of my co-founders is a trial lawyer, like you can't handle the truth trial lawyer, and he's excellent at what he does. So whoever lies to us first is it's going to be a bad week for them.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad week for them.
So if you ask somebody, okay, under penalty of perjury, did you use? What's the question that you ask? Like, did you use any generative AI? And somebody may say, well, I used it for the drums in Logic, so they can't get the check. Is that what that means?
Probably not. Yeah, okay. Probably not. And we have an auditing process that we're working on, and we've been speaking to music technologists at the local universities to help us build this out. And we're going to do randomized audits, and we're going to do what we're calling smelly fish audits when something kind of smells bad. We will look further into that, and that will be done with interviews and show me where you booked this room for this co-write, right? Like we're gonna do deep dives when we have to.
So a good point for any writers out there, musicians looking to take advantage of this system, and it's good anyway. Keep records. Keep records. Keep if you have your calendars with your co-writes booked on it, if you put the space, put the location in there, your session charts and cards, if you hire live musicians to play on it, the demo or the final, like keep records of that kind of stuff.
Yes, that sounds great. We'd love
records
that.
are always good things. Plus, that way, if somebody sues you for saying you wrote the song, but you're like, aha, I can prove data creation. Aha, that's always good too.
Don't worry, we don't want to sue anybody.
No, I'm just saying if somebody else does. It's just good to have records anyway for people out there.
So, does that just by definition then maybe preclude certain more technological oriented genres of music like EDM or techno or let's talk about a genre of music, let's say like EDM, where it's all digital. Mm-hmm. So then how do you know if what this guy, how do you do a deep dive and find out, digitally speaking, whether or not they created this or whether or not it was created by AI? I mean, what would they have to show you? Like the tracks, the hard drive, of a Pro Tools rig or something, or how does that work?
That is an excellent question, and I'm not a music technologist, so I'm a little afraid to say something that's inaccurate. Mm-hmm. Okay. But yes, we would still, and if it's being put together by a human being, we are all for it.
And for the record, I have. I should disclose in complete transparency, I'm not a fan of EDM. Like, I don't listen to it. I don't get it. I want to hear real people playing instruments and hear the feeling. I don't take the kind of drugs that you have to take to really get into EDM or something. I'm not sure. But, I remember a buddy of mine managed like a really big EDM quote unquote DJ. And I remember watching the setup happening for New Year's Eve in Nashville at the Bridgestone Arena. So this guy's like a big DJ. And it's like all the stuff backstage that you would expect to see, let's say, at any given concert, including like, the dressing room, the artist, there's like a plot, the plot, you have a stage plot when somebody advances a show, right? It's like, here's the guitar player, here's the drummer, here's this artist. And I was just like, how's this person an artist? Like, it wouldn't bother me if you guys said, you know what, like certain genres of music that are all machines can't be certified.
I think if it's all created by, if a genre emerges, and it may through all of this mess, if a genre emerges that's pretty much exclusively generative AI, then unfortunately we are kind of purists about it, and there are lots of cool solutions out there that are working on ethical AI uses, accommodating AI in cool ways, but it's just not what we do at Humanable.
Yeah. Well, one thing I think you mentioned the non-GMO label on food. And I think it's a great comparison because some people are like, I don't care. I'm going to drink my Coca-Cola and I know it's bad for me, or I'm going to get whatever. You're like, I know this is a vat of chemicals, whatever the particular food is that I'm putting in my body. I could care less. Other people are like, no, if it doesn't say, certified GMO, organic, fair trade, free range, whatever, I'm not putting this in my body. And there are going to be people like that where that really matters. And I would imagine that it's going to kind of be a self-sorting thing of like some people like your folkies, your bluegrassers, your people that are like, we are about the peopleness of it, are going to, flock to that and go, yes, that is a badge of honor. Other people are like, I don't care. My people don't care. And they aren't going to come to you. I would imagine it's going to kind of work itself out that way for the people that care.
Yes, and we do still think that I'll use the term critical mass again. The critical mass of consumers, especially passionate music consumers, are still going to choose human created art over robot art. But we also know that human beings and consumers can be retrained relatively easily, which is why we're doing this now, before the consumer market becomes retrained to accept that music isn't created by human beings anymore, or is half created by human beings.
Yeah, and I think it's not just I guess just a personal preference choice or whatever. There's like real dollars attached to this. I saw on Humanable's website that you say on there that eventually Gen AI music will, it says here, quote, swallow more than 1/4 of artist revenue by 2028. Okay, please unpack that for us, because that's a big shocking number, and this is part of why this matters and why we wanted to have you on today. So, what does that mean, and how does that apply maybe to songwriters as well? And the big three: vocalist, writer, instrumentalist, right?
The big three. Well,
how are they taking our money?
Yeah. So, that's another problem, is that generative AI creates all kinds of copyright gray areas and copyright problems, right? Because I think that right now most of it has to have mostly human creativity. The problem is, how are you going to get the number of what percent came from you and what percent came from a generative AI, Chat GPT, or the much more advanced music focused ones? You can't really get to a number very easily. So it's gonna cause a problem that I'm excited to watch how it plays out. But I think that's where the Copyright Office stands right now. And so
so this is for like copyright, saying, how do we claim ownership? If I just give one of these music AI sites a prompt and go, write me a song about blah, 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 and it writes it, and I go, that's mine now, and I'm going to claim copyright on it and put it out myself. You're saying there may be some issues there with either who owns that, right?
Yeah, with who owns that. If you get in legal trouble for something and you have to prove how much was created by a human being, you can't really back up a percentage, right? With the technology that we have now. And who we're really worried about protecting is the kids here in Nashville and everywhere who have this God-given talent that they want to use, and they can't do anything else except for write songs, which I think is everybody here. I'm sure if they could do something else that they would have. That's who we're worried about protecting.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Johnny.
I'm still uncertain how how exactly do you see through the lens that you're looking at that a certain amount of revenue will be gone from AI? Are you saying that, like, in terms of, I mean, the only way that AI is going to generate a song is by learning all these old songs that were invented by humans, right? So it's like inevitably stepping on copyrights, right? But
Yes.
how does it, aside from being like one more upload of the 120,000 uploads a day on Spotify, um, how does it, how's it taking food off the table exactly?
Yeah, I think it takes food off the table because there are lots of opportunities to make. There are lots of people who want opportunities to make music cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think if someone can pay, there's always going to be people who want to pay less for a high volume.
Mm-hmm.
And from typical, Spotify revenues, royalties. Sorry, if there's more people listening to more robot music, and then less streams for human artists, that some of that money is going to go away, and it's not like royalties from anywhere are super robust for the songwriters.
Yeah, that's right.
So partly I would imagine this human musicians not getting the call to work on a demo. I was talking to someone the other day going, yeah, there are these sites where you can give it a prompt that it'll write a song for you, complete vocal and instrumentation. Like, boop, here's a whole thing. And all you did was write me a reggae song about whatever. And it kicked it out in like 30 seconds, like 2 of them.
Yeah.
I was like, when it can get work and, you upload a work tape and it gives you a demo, that's when people are, like in Nashville, like musicians are going to be like, oh crap. Because now that I have to call me, if they get something 90% as good, at least to their ear, without having to pay cartage and a demo studio and all that stuff, that's definitely when it gets scary. And when it gets good enough, like you can't hear the difference.
Yeah. Yep. And it's going to be in every instance like that, from, the first pen on the paper to all the streams, everything is going to change.
Yeah. I've heard worse, like songs and demos from real people than I've heard from some of the AI stuff. Like, oh, okay, I've heard worse from Flesh and Blood on some of that,
It's super sophisticated. It's super sophisticated. Yep.
But, so here's another question. So I never thought about it like what you said, Brent. That opens up a new window, right? Where like the demo business could disappear.
I mean, it's already hurting so much just from people, the band in the box, people getting on Pro Tools and Logic and programming, and those people that can do that. It's great. Like if I'm writing with somebody like Jason Wilkes, who can do like a killer record in his house because he sings great, he plays great, he can do whatever that magic he does. And it's not AI, it's JW, it's Jason Wilkes doing it. But it's amazing. I'm like, oh, this is so great, because if we write something that we both get excited about, he can do the demo and I don't have to pay for it. Awesome, right? So like track people are already in a way taking from other humans who would normally we'd have to pay somebody to do it. And then if you can just do it in AI, then you're like, oh, maybe we don't even need the track guy or the track girl. Or if we do, we can just add to it and not have the demo people. And publishers are going to like that too, right? Because everyone responds to incentives. So publishers will be more likely to go, hey, as long as it sounds great, I don't care where it comes from, because I don't have to write a check for that. We're just scratching and scraping, trying to stay in business as is. If that can lower our overhead to get a good sounding demo, then that gives us longer runway to get the ship in the air or before we fall off the cliff.
So how would Humanable treat that? Like, so this is a B2B product we're talking about with a demo.
Yeah.
And then let's say that we have a completely, 3 songwriters got together, human beings, and wrote a song. They used AI, generative AI, to create the demo. and then they get a cut on the song, and let's say Tim McGraw cuts it, and he goes in and cuts it with the band, right? So the sound recording that's on the streaming platforms is 100% human. Like, will you guys have different? I remember when digital first came out, you could look on the back of your CD and see, it was like I can't remember how they did it. It was like triple D or 2D, like if it was digitally recorded, if it was digitally mixed, and if it was digitally mastered. So, I know like one of the first records to be all three of those was Queensryche's Rage for Order, right? It was digitally recorded on Mitsubishi X880 digital tape. And then it was mixed, and it was digitally mastered. So that was one of the first like triple D things. So will there be like a grading system essentially? Like, does the public give a crap about the demo?
So here's how we would handle that. So the three co-writers wrote the song. They wrote it themselves. They didn't involve any generative AI, right? So we would be able to certify that those lyrics in that chart for that song. We would not be able to certify the demo, but if the produced record was the same, not altered by generative AI, with the lyrics and the charts, and it was sung by a human being, we would be able to certify that recording in addition to the lyrics and charts. We just wouldn't be able to certify the demo.
Mm-hmm. Which I would imagine the public wouldn't care. Maybe an artist here and there would care, that because if they just want to say, hey, I want to make sure that, we involve humans at every step of the process of my product. Mm-hmm. Kind of like some food manufacturers to say, I want to say this is organic or this is fair trade all the way through, because that's a personal issue for me, or moral stance or whatever. I can see that mattering to some artists, which would be interesting.
Yeah, and I encourage everybody to certify everything from the lyrics and the charts to the demo and any other versions, just so everybody who wants to work with you is 100% sure.
Interesting. So, obviously the impetus behind this was AI. I mean, certify the genesis of this. Like, what was this? Was this a conversation between you and your father, or between your father and somebody else? Like, where did somebody wake up and say, you know what, I've got this idea? Like, can you connect some of those dots where you kind of came up with this and here's how it could work? Were there different iterations of this before it came to fruition?
Yeah. So I accidentally grassrooted myself in the Nashville dive bar community. Was hanging out a lot at Santa's pub on Sunday nights with the Santa's Ice Cold Pickers, which has become like a second family to me. Everybody go watch the Ice Cold Pickers on Sunday nights at Santa's. And Bobby's Idle Hour, all those places, and met a lot of artists, a lot of songwriters, a lot of folks who were just sort of moving here to get into the industry, all the way up to my friend Emily Nenny, who just made her Opry debut a few months ago. And we were having the same conversation over and over again, which is, this is scary. I'm worried it's going to eat my lunch. I don't know how to fix it. And I wanted to fix it. And maybe it's sort of a God complex thing. I don't know. I'll have to work on that later. But I wanted to find a solution to fix it. So I was kind of tossing ideas around. Maybe it's some sort of record label that stands over the artist's shoulder. No, that's not practical. A kosher kitchen recording studio, that's great, but you can only do so much at a time. If someone's in there for 6 weeks recording something, then you can only work with one person for 6 weeks. And that's not a big shift in the dynamic. So we realized that the solution was actually in my co-founder's background and a little bit my background in trademarks. Trademarks is hopefully gonna fix this for everybody. Like trademarks has fixed organic versus non-organic produce, defining that line. And so we started fleshing it out. And what's been great about it is that the musicians here in my immediate community have loved it, and have loved that there is a serious potential solution to a problem that they're really concerned about. We've never had anyone tell us, you're worried about nothing. This is not going to come and eat anybody's lunch.
Right.
So we have been working on getting this up since, I believe it was February of this year. Mm-hmm. And we right away found our software developers, and we're off to the races. Like a week later, we were off to the races.
Yeah, pretty fast. Yeah.
So unpack the software developers. Like, what software? I mean, from what I've gathered so far, I'm just playing the consumer here, right? Because I'm trying to learn about the company. So I think my ignorance on this is probably going to speak for a big cross section of people that you want to reach. Okay. So what I understood before was that there'll be an affidavit that somebody's going to sign that's going to say that this is Humanable, right? It's made by humans. Mm-hmm. What's the software? What's the software do?
Well, software may be a strong statement. It's a web application that people can use on their PCs or phones.
Oh, okay.
And so artists, songwriters will create an account with us, and the first thing they do when they create an account is their ID will be verified through Plaid. We will know that you are a human being. They'll do the classic not a robot thing, and then also we're gonna verify identities. Like, we are working super hard to make sure that everybody is able to utilize this as much as possible. And so we will know that they're a human being, and that they're the human being that they say they are. So that is the first big step. And then from there, artists can sign our affidavit, and it's for each specific piece of art.
Mm-hmm. So it's not for a writer or an artist. It's for this particular work, this particular work, this particular work.
Yes.
So if I'm an artist and I put out a 10-song record, I'm going to sign 10 affidavits.
I think it would be still a per song fee, but I think it's one affidavit that covers each thing you put in at a time. So it's a $1 per song, one-time fee. And our monthly fee to maintain that license to use our mark is going to be $6.95 a month, or approximately one less can of beer per month.
Okay. Well, wait a second. Hold on. Now that you put it that way,
just up the perceived value.
Yeah. So who's paying the $6.95?
Anyone who wants to certify anything. So if it's an unsigned artist, a songwriter without a pub deal, or a songwriter with a pub deal who wants to go ahead and get this done instead of waiting for it to be a general consensus. Anyone who wants to certify something absolutely can. We will do bespoke deals if labels, pub houses, if they want to certify things in mass, then we'll work directly with them so that they will have a more simplified process than having to do it for each, create accounts for each of their artists and everything. We will simplify it for organizations.
So what if, go ahead, Brent, sorry.
I was going to ask, so the you said 99, I think, a month, is that per like $6.95 per work?
No.
That is for like the account holder.
That is for everything. Yeah, that is per account holder.
Okay. So this would cover my whole catalog, $1 per work plus, one time, and then $6.95 as long as I'm certifying. Okay. Because I thought it was $6.95 per song for a minute there. I was like, oh boy. Okay.
No.
Okay, much better.
So what if if Brent is in a writing room with two other writers, And Brent's all about getting certified, but the two other writers aren't. How does that work? I mean, is this like a B2B certification or a B2C certification or both?
So how that would work there is whoever, you can certify it if you have knowledge, like you were in the room when this was written. And if someone doesn't want to put it on the front of a record cover or promotional materials, and there's 3 of them and they have to decide if they want to label it Humanable certified, then that's between the 3 of them. But if one person was in the room, it's per work, not, we're not certifying whole groups of people, we're certifying the work.
Okay, so like if the 3 of us wrote a song and you're like, I want to certify this. This is like 100% organic. It's human. I want to certify it because that matters for me for whatever reason. Doesn't matter. And John and I are like, man, I can't afford the $1 or the $6.95. Can you buy our lunch and can you just certify it? Then you're like, yeah, I can certify this song that the 3 of us wrote. Johnny and I don't have to sign on and certify because you've covered that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does that appear? Like, certified where? Do you know? I mean, like, I'm confused. Like, how? So you got a song now. Is it certified right in the writing room? Is it certified on the demo? Is it certified on the sound recording, the final record? Like what?
I mean, it can be all of it. Can be
And
all.
how do I know? Like, okay, so if I'm a publisher and Brent wrote a song with 2 other writers, all of whom do not have a publishing deal, and I want to know as the publisher that they wrote it, and this is not some AI generated stuff. How do I know?
Well, because one person who was in the room has signed up and, under the penalty of perjury has, said that this was created by human beings. And yes, sometimes you might speak for people, but they also, if they don't want to put Humanable when they send it off to whoever they send it off with, they don't have to.
So you're going to send like an email with a work tape attached to it, let's say, or a demo attached to it to a publisher. You're also going to send along a copy of the affidavit? Like what, like how do I find out that it's certified?
Yeah. So we will spit out a license to use our mark. And if whoever you're sending it to wants to see further that it's been Humanable certified, that would be what you send on.
And so then that license or that check would appear like what on their Disco account or something, or
I guess wherever you want to put it, right? Wherever you want to put it. They'd send it to you personally. Like you're probably like maybe like a stamp or some sort of graphic, I would imagine, and then a unique license number to you, Johnny, for that work. And then you can add that wherever you want to on your stuff.
Yeah, it'll be a unique Humanable number, and we'll send you high-res graphics, and you can exactly, Brent. You can put that on any promotional materials or send it in an email to whoever you're sending it to. Say, this is the Humanable number, if that matters to you.
Right? Okay, so I just got so many questions. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out like how, and I'm not trying to be complicated here, but
no, and I love to talk about it. So absolutely.
I think some of this stuff is complicated. Okay, so let's say Brent and 2 other writers are in a room. They write this song. They don't want to pay for Humanable. Maybe they just haven't heard of it yet, right? Maybe they're not in the market yet. But Brent pays the $1 for the work for the let's say for the demo. Let's say it's one of the guys is a track guy. So you got your demo like right then and there, right? And let's say that Brent has the account that he's paying $6.95 a month for. So Brent is going to put that demo up on his Disco account, right? Because you're probably not going to send a song file maybe to a publisher. You would maybe send a link, right? So they could click on it and go listen directly to that song that they may have heard about. So Brent then has that check on his account, but what if the relationship that gets to the publisher is one of the two guys that doesn't have the check? Like, are they going to be allowed to put your stamp and your license on the demo for that song on their disco account because Brent paid for it? How does that
yeah, so
legally, how does that work? So in other words, like, if these guys don't want to participate, or they just haven't participated yet in Humanable, then how and I'm a publisher that wants to know that this isn't AI generated, because I don't want any BS. I don't want any, because I imagine that's going to get pretty hairy here as the doors open up, right? Because there's just no way to so somebody's going to have a big freaking lawsuit, and it's not going to be on the writer because they don't have any money. It's going to be on the publisher. It's going to be on the record label. It's going to be on somebody with the deepest pockets. And when that hits, if they find some kind of angle there, then it's going to be the floodgates are going to open up, and you're going to have all kinds of ambulance chasers looking for that kind of crap. Like, so how would I know that these other two guys who don't participate, that song is good if I'm looking on their disco account?
Yeah. So I believe that the song would still be certified. I don't know that the other two writers would be able to use that mark on their personal promotional materials. Now the song still has a Humanable certified number attached to it, and it's per the piece of art. But if the three of us wrote a song and I certified it and you two said, no, thank you, I'm not interested in that, you could still use the Humanable number to send a link or an email to anybody with the piece of art, but you two couldn't put Humanable artist or put that logo on any other promotional materials or social media.
Okay. So yeah, you can still say this song has been certified human.
Yeah. Yes. And luckily, the other two co-founders are both attorneys and are very, very sophisticated when it comes to this kind of thing and these sort of gray, hairy areas, right?
Yeah, because they're all going to be gray areas, right? That'll be where the FAQ is massively important.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're already in a super gray area with this generative AI stuff, and
right.
Yeah, and we're trying to minimize them as much as we can, and that's why we're purists about it too.
Yeah. Well, I have a question actually for Johnny, talking about somebody opens up a big lawsuit. I'm wondering where a lawsuit might spring from in the use of AI, because it's not like AI is going to sue you to say you used my song and took credit for it. Like, where might a lawsuit come from? What are you thinking?
Well, isn't that kind of the question that's out in the ether already, right? Like, okay, when you use an AI tool to, write out your lyrics in the style of Waylon Jennings, and the melody in the style of Waylon Jennings, and you've got that, you put those parameters in there. Well, then the only way that the tool can understand that is by learning from Waylon Jennings, right?
Yeah.
So, on one hand, that's how songwriters learn, right? I've listened to all the Waylon Jennings records. I know them inside and out. I learn, and I don't know. I mean, we have songwriters out there right now with all of them have copyright insurance, right? Like, in case they get sued because one line or one melody can be brought back into. I mean, here's a better way to explain it. John Fogerty was sued and lost, right? Or did he win? But he was sued.
I don't remember.
I think he won, but I think he was sued and still had to pay money for legal fees to go and be tried legally for plagiarizing himself.
Right. He was by an old publisher, right?
That's some entangled mess.
Yeah.
Right. That I don't think you could write. I don't think there's a creative soul out there who could dream up that scenario. So, in in the style or in the spirit, if you will, of the scene from Apollo 13, where they give him the what's the cyanide pill. You know, there's 101 reasons that we've figured out why you might need this, but mostly it's for the reasons we can't think of, right? Like we don't know where you might just need to take this pill and just end it right there, so you're not tortured. Well, you know, I don't know. Like, what's going to happen with this? I mean, there's a lot of people with a lot of money fighting very hard against AI, and so who knows what could happen with that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we've got Toro lawnmowers having to put a sticker on the lawnmower that says, "Don't lift up the lawnmower and trim your hedges," because we can't be responsible for cutting off your fingers. Why did that happen? Because Toro had to go to freaking court, and
Right.
some moron, like, you know, lifted up his lawnmower, tried to trim his hedges, lost his fingers, and successfully sued Toro for having the blades. Like, I don't know is the answer. But
that's why McDonald's has a sticker on the drive-through window that says, "Caution, our coffee is served extremely hot."
Right. Now that actually, I will just side note, that's a legit lawsuit. Because the trick to selling more coffee is to burn it. When you burn it, the smell increases like 100-fold, and you sell more coffee when you're burning it. So they kept it purposefully too hot to sell more coffee. And that coffee, because how many times have you gotten? I've gotten it with coffee and with soda where the top's not on the right way.
Oh yeah.
And it burned a woman's genitals, 3rd-degree burns on the coffee. So that's why they did. She sued and she won, and they've stopped that process now of doing it. But you know, there's frivolous stuff. Like, I don't know what these lawyers are going to come up with AI.
Well,
so it might be interesting. Like, that might be an angle of success for you guys, Lili, because you can be the de facto a voice from on high as to whether or not it's licensed in a certain way to protect, you know, from AI for lawsuits. And maybe this is none of my business. I'm just curious on a business level, like, what is the main motivation that you see in the marketplace for this? I know where your heart comes from, and I know, you know, where the purest heart is at. But, you know, to me, this kind of borders on somebody saying you should buy on Main Street and not from Walmart because Walmart's wiping out Main Street stores, because that's the right thing to do. But everybody still goes to Walmart because it's less expensive. So the reality is Main Street is not going to ever recover from an angle of virtue, right? They're going to have to recover from an angle of we're going to charge more money for our stuff and validate the price, right? Mm-hmm. In the same way that Starbucks validates a $5 cup of coffee. It's a story. It's a vibe. It's a you know, they've somehow taken a 50-cent cup of coffee and made it $5 and turned it into this ubiquitous thing. Like, it's crazy. So what is what's the angle for, is it just industry people that use, is this an industry product, or is this B2C too?
I mean, we hope it's an industry. We hope it becomes an industry product when we launch. We hope that we become the industry standard for folks, consumers, industry people who want to make 100% sure that what they're consuming or buying or using is created by a human. We hope so. We also hope that it's for the kid who just wrote his first song at, you know, sleepaway music camp. We hope it's for everybody, and that's why we've priced it the way that we have. And you know, we have the same service for, you mentioned Chris Stapleton earlier, available to Chris Stapleton if he wants it to, you know, the songwriter, maybe unsigned, no pub deal yet, just trying to make their rent in Nashville or Los Angeles. It's the same service, and it's the same amount of protection for everybody. But what our dearest hope I mentioned earlier, we're trying to make sure consumers are not retrained too much because they can be. Can you imagine doing your banking online 20 years ago? Now I don't know when the last time I set foot in a banking branch was, you know.
Good point.
Unfortunately, consumers can absolutely be retrained. Consumers were retrained towards streaming and away from buying records. I still buy records, but I also use streaming. And so what our dearest hope is work. We would love to work with platforms like Spotify, Amazon Music, all of those guys to install what we're calling a Humanable toggle, so that if a music consumer really wants to only consume music created by human beings, they can turn that toggle on and make sure that everything that the platform is feeding them is created by a human being.
Oh, wow. Kind of like a way that you can change your algorithm to
yes.
on a social media platform.
That is
I like versus what's being suggested to me.
Yes, and that is our most ambitious and highest and nearest and dearest hope for this company. Yes.
Well, that's interesting.
And also we hope that way, if the toggle is installed on a platform, we hope that because it would be a smaller selection of music, that might give up and coming artists a bit of a leg up, and in a smaller catalog.
Put them in a smaller pile. Yeah.
Yeah. More likely to be found by fans.
Lili, do you guys have any data on how many, what you would consider to be AI generated, generative AI songs are being uploaded every day out of that 120,000?
Oh, I just had, we have a document with our marketing data. It scared me the other day. I don't remember what the number is, so I kind of remember, but I'm afraid to say it. It scared me. And I'm not a songwriter or a musician in any fashion, and it scared the hell out of me. Wow. So,
just in the time we've been talking, I could have generated, 200 like AI songs just in the time we've been talking. And then if I wanted to upload those all, I guess I could.
Yep. It is.
From somebody who understands the angle of traffic, okay, if you have acquired a boatload of playlists that generate constant traffic, and you could go and upload 1,000 AI songs without having to be a musician or a songwriter or anything, and you're just putting a file into a playlist, and it would be much the same as the sleep noise companies, right? Like doing, and you're getting 30 seconds, boom, you get a stream, you get paid. If you're getting enough traffic where you can get 1 million streams a month on your AI generated thing, that's $3,300 on the master.
Yeah.
And if it's AI generated and you had any wherewithal for publishing, you could double that, right? With and claim that you wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
It's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess. We're trying to untangle it.
It's like the world refrigerator still, just got the front of it got a whole lot bigger for everyone to slap their art up there, but
Yes.
Makes it harder to find the good stuff. Because like I said, I could have put up I could have created about 200 songs in the time we've been talking. They'd be crap. But doesn't mean I can't do it. As Johnny likes to say, we're so interested, so busy trying to figure out if they could, they never stop to consider if they should.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Good, right?
And this is a really great place to talk about it because, I don't have to tell you guys that there's a problem. You guys know, that there's a problem.
Yeah.
And your listeners know that there's a problem. When you're talking to Suits, it's a little different. You have to, folks who aren't in the music industry, they know it's a problem, but they don't necessarily know why. And so this is...
Yes, but is it my problem? Exactly. Right? You got to make it their problem. This is why it's your problem.
Yes.
A problem. Yeah. I don't care about a problem. I care about my problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so interesting, man. And then, I guess I don't know if you need a badge for this because you just find out by going, but should be maybe addressed to. There's already hologram artists out there.
Mm-hmm.
So like on that streaming with the toggle, like I don't want to. I don't want to deal with hologram artists. Like I only want, there's huge hologram artists,
human
like
beings.
ridiculously large money generating hologram artists that got to be attractive for a record label because they do whatever you say. They don't shoot heroin. They won't get pregnant. They don't, all they'll do is just work, and they never get tired. And
they could be in 2 cities at once.
And they never get older. Yeah, they could be in 2 cities at once, 4 cities at once, like whatever. Astonishing.
I mean, you think about just people that, they just want to hear a bop and they just want to hear something fun. So who do they care if it's a completely AI? I mean, they could have videos. They could, with the deep fakes and all this stuff, you could have like, hey, I'm trying to think of some big artist that I haven't seen in person, but say I've never seen Taylor Swift. As far as I know, she could be in the Matrix, right? I've met her. She was nice when I met her. But say, like, oh my gosh, and all these events, but I've never laid eyes on this person. I don't really care if they're real or if they're just real to me. People got boyfriends and girlfriends that way. So why not their artist? You know what I'm saying?
No, that's true.
And that's, by the way, they've already been retrained for that, because I think that's a real problem. We were just talking about that earlier this morning. That's a real problem for the record labels, that people are now, falling in love with the song on a playlist, but they're not necessarily in mass attributing that song to
an artist.
So because that repetition, isn't there. So it's kind of like the railroad track's already been set for that. I mean,
yeah, and we're not against generative AI at Humanable. It's just not what we do.
Right.
And and we're really not against the generative AI that's out there curing cancer, right?
Yeah, like I'm all for that.
There's a time and a place for this technology. It's just not here.
Well, I like that you want to give people the option of going, I want to consume human, 100% human.
Yes.
Yeah.
Soylent Green reference. But anyway, I want to consume 100% human. And so they can do that with some assurance. Is really what you want to provide. And I can just see like artists like a Jason Isbell or somebody or some Americana artist, wearing whatever that mark is on their shirt at some show. Right?
I will send you guys t-shirts.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I want one, please. Yeah. I want one, please. So, well, let's wrap it up with this. I was hoping on you triggered me a couple different times in there, like in a good way, but not the answer that I wanted, that you guys had some kind of software to detect AI. Like, how does that work? Like, may you find that, okay? That's my wish for you, to where it can automatically trigger AI, and then it can be put into this pile over here, digitally speaking. I don't know how you can do that.
You'd probably have to use AI.
Yeah. Well,
and so it's like AI. What do you call it with the cops that look after the cops?
Internal affairs.
Yeah, it's like AI. IA.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm not above fighting fire with fire.
There you go.
For sure. And I would love that.
And that's the thing; it's a tool, but it's not an artist.
Exactly, it's not an artist, and I can't wait for that stuff to be available, because it'll just be that much more faith in that Humanable mark. But we already have a super intensive process that works until that technology is ready, and then we will be the first to utilize it, I'm sure, when it is fully ready for us.
Very cool.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, Lili, thank you so much for taking the time. I mean, I learned a lot here. I think I like what you guys are doing. I hope you get the traction that you want.
Yeah. Where can people come and find the site, find the service, all that good stuff, get their own certified?
Yeah. So on September 17th, it'll be on Humanable.com, and Humanable.com has a placeholder site now where folks can join the mailing list, so that as soon as we're live at 12:01 a.m. on September 17th, they'll get an email and folks can start certifying their stuff, and we can't wait. And you guys should definitely come to the party if you're going to be around for Americana Fest, and anyone else who has an Americana Fest pass or is going to purchase one, come and speak to me and learn more about it at the party.
Can I come to the party if I don't have an Americana
Yes.
Let's pass. Can you put me on the list?
Just don't tell Americana Fest, but yes, you can come.
I won't. It'll be our than anybody who listens to the podcast. No, this is the part where you say, Johnny, I will never do that.
I will never do that.
Okay, good.
Right.
I'll put you on the list, Johnny.
You're covered. I love it. All right, guys. Well, hey, that takes us to the end of another killer C.L.I.M.B episode. If you have questions on this, you want to learn more about it, go to humanable.com. Go to the to Santa's Pub for the breakout party if you're going to be at Americana Fest for sure. And keep an eye out on this. It's your lunch they're trying to save, right? So this podcast exists because we want you to win, guys. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.
Who had a great